Okay, today we're going to be talking about reclaiming clay because mainly today I'm up to my elbows in reclaiming clay. I used about 65 boxes of clay last year in what I do, making pots, and I didn't reclaim anything. I know something you should keep on top of and do often. However, there's a long list of something I should do more often and keep on top of, and I didn't do that either. Anyway, so how I reclaim clay is first I got to tell you how much I got to reclaim. As I said, after a year of no reclaiming clay, I had 7 or 8, I forget, 5-gallon buckets of mud waiting to go through the process. And that's what I've been up to all this week. So the process is yesterday I was trimming these bowls. These are all made from recycled clay this week. Yesterday I was trimming these bowls and I've got the trimming and they're drying and they're just waiting to go into the bucket. When these are dry, I'll throw them into a 5-gallon pail of water. And also, other stuff goes in there. If there's a pot I made that's wet enough, it can go in the bucket. If I'm a messy potter, these mugs, I throw them all too tall and I cut them off, I measure them. So there's always schmutz to go, that's technical pottery talk, to go into the bucket. And then when the bucket is full, I drill it up with my big compound mixer drill. And when it turns into a nice thick slurry, you don't want it too wet. But anyway, so you pour it out onto these sheets. I just open up this bed sheet and I pour out, this is 2 buckets of clay. I pour it out and you can level it off and it will dry. I used to do this on the floor, but as I get older, I find the floor gets farther away. Also, you have to make sure you put down a plastic on the floor. I use like contractor's vapor barrier to make sure no water gets on the floor. You don't want that sitting on your floor wet like that for days. And then what happens is I made this one thin because I'm really getting tired of reclaiming clay. So what happens then after it sits in there for a while, this one is a little thicker. The edges always get dry first. And then you can just pull off a piece of clay. I'm not going to do it now. See, this is too soft. You can't pull that off and wedge it, but this is firmer. You could. And then what I do with that, I take them over to my table over here and I spread them out until they're soft enough or firm enough, I mean, to wedge. And then I wedge them up and put them in bags and they go over there and they wait to be turned into pots. So I like using reclaimed clay. It's a lot softer. Well, you have control over the consistency. And I like my clay a little softer. As I said, as I get older, my clay gets softer, the floor gets further away. I was thinking that if it wasn't for the weight gain and the gray hair and the wrinkles and the memory loss, how I deal with my clay is my only sign of aging. Anyway, so that's reclaiming clay. I probably should do it more often. I did meet a man once years ago. His name was, we called him Bumpy Bob. Bumpy Bob. No, but we called him Grumpy Bob. I haven't seen him for years. Maybe he's bumpy. I don't know. But anyway, his name was Grumpy Bob. And Grumpy Bob always said he never reclaimed clay because it was too much work. It was easier just to throw it out and buy new clay and not bother wasting your time with the old clay. And I was thinking, well, one, I like to recycle. I recycle everything I can. Two, our clay supplier is 2 hours away, and you have to drive, and then it's a whole day because you got to go to the supplier, you got to go to Costco, and you got to make it a day trip, and then you got to pay for it all and pay for your gas. And also, if Bumpy or Grumpy Bob were to throw it out, where do you put all that clay? Like that's a lot. This is a lot of clay. All of this is all recycled clay. This would be sitting in his ditch every year for years, assuming he's still making pots. So I think it's good to recycle clay. It's messy, but it's well worth it. So let me know. I'm going to finish off here. So let me know in the comments if you recycle your clay. Oh, one thing I did want to say is these sheets. These sheets, don't put this in your washer. What I do with these, when I'm done with these, there's a lot of clay in them yet. And I'll hang the sheet over a couple of chairs and the sheet will dry out completely. And then I have big buckets. I make my glazes in garbage cans. and then I put water in there and I throw the muddy sheet into the garbage can, and then all the clay flakes off, and I can take the sheet off. And yes, I recycle the clay on the bottom of the garbage can. And also, when I'm recycling clay, I don't add any new clay to it because all the throwing water goes into the uh, recycle pot. People said that when you're throwing clay, you wash out the small particles and you have to reinforce it with new clay. But if everything you use is back in the recycle bin again and again and again, you don't have to add anything else to it, just a little bit of elbow grease. Anyway, there's a recycling clay. It's Friday afternoon. Let me know in the comments, do you recycle clay? Do you like it? Do you use it? Do you do like Bumpy Grumpy Bob and just throw it all away? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think. It's Friday night. Have a good weekend.